Welcome to the 13th Annual Chandler Sports Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony and Luncheon. The Chandler Sports Hall of Fame honors athletes, coaches, administrators, and teams who have brought recognition to Chandler through their athletic achievements. This year's outstanding class will stand side by side with previous inductees, including Zora Fawley, Elena Bergsman, Adam Archuleta, Lindsay Taylor, Eddie Wilson, Brianna Leslie, Cody Ransom, and Cameron Jordan. The Chandler Sports Hall of Fame class of 2016 is Riley Barclay, Marlin Broek, Ryan Evans, Brett Hundley, Bryce Lamb, and Lawrence Westbrook. Congratulations to the newest Chandler Sports Hall of Famers. The Chandler Sports Hall of Fame is proud to honor the following state championship teams: the 1979 Seton softball team, the 1982 Chandler High girls basketball team, the 1983 Seton softball team, and the 1991 Valley Christian boys track and field team. Congratulations to all these championship teams.
I was pretty much born into it. My dad came out from Chicago to do gymnastics at ASU when he was in college and stuck around and started coaching at ASU for the ASU men's program there. So when I was born, it was kind of natural to hang out in the gym while he was coaching, and it was fun, it was interesting, it was go to work with Dad and go play in the foam pit all day. I started learning and started taking classes when I was about 3 years old, just 1 hour a week. And that was when the structure began. So my whole junior career all the way up till I graduated high school, I was pretty much healthy, had no issues, didn't break any bones. I hit college my freshman year, I got mono. My sophomore year, I caught valley fever. And my junior year was, I broke my neck. I was doing a triple twisting, double front flip. Yeah, like 1080 to 1260, whatever it is. So yeah, so three twists and 2 flips. Bounced off the tramp, and I did my first flip with 1 twist, and went to go to my second flip with 2 twists, and just missed one of my cues. I got lost flipping and twisting, I had no idea where I was. And I was supposed to do 2 flips, land on my feet. I ended up doing 2.5 flips. Was up high in the air, head dove through the foam pit and hit the trampoline bottom and then hit the concrete at the bottom, and just felt like a thud on my head, chest up went numb. At that point I just sat there, and I didn't know exactly what was wrong at the time there, and we started getting all ready, got the ambulance there, and it took about 2 hours to get out of the pit. Got to the hospital, they took an x-ray, and not even there 10 minutes, they come back and they show me, they're like, well, your neck's broken. Here's a picture of it. Oh, great. But I broke my C7 in 1 place and my C6 in 2 places, all the way through. So that was quite a journey for me, and just the whole recovery process. Mentally, it was tough. It was always one of those things I'm going over my head. I remember my first standing backflip again. It was always scary, that first one. Okay, that was scary, but I overcame it. Okay, what's the next one? So it was little baby steps, and as I kept going and pushing, and each day got better, the snowball effect kept going on, and skills started coming back and progressing and getting better. And yeah, and then before I knew it, it was season time, and I wasn't ready for it. I'd just been out for 3 to 4 months, and so yeah, by the end of the season, I was competing all 6 events and doing really good. Ended up making finals on floor and P-bars, and somehow I ended up winning my national championship in the all-around also. So it was a long road to recovery, but it was well worth it and paid off, and I couldn't have done it without my family and friends and my coaches. I finished up college and competing in gymnastics, and I loved it. To me, to be inducted in the Chandler Sports Hall of Fame is huge. It's a very big accomplishment, and I feel honored that I am recognized as a gymnast, and not many gymnasts get recognized for their accomplishments, and I feel more than blessed to be that person, and I'm excited.
I was raised on a farm in northwest Iowa, but as far as athletics and sports, the cousins would get together. We would either play softball, baseball, basketball. We'd play games with up in our what you'd call the haymow, the barn. In college, I went to a small college in northwest Iowa. It's called Dort College, and the school was in the community that I grew up in. The idea was to get a good quality education and to participate in athletics. I received my degree, bachelor's degree in secondary education, and graduated in 1970. But my wife and I, we were married after my senior year, and my wife and I decided that it might be a good idea to look at some of the opportunities outside of northwest Iowa. I went to Arizona State and received my master's degree, and my wife was teaching school in Phoenix. And we moved up to Page in 1973, and I was the head coach for several years, up till '76. In 1982, I was interviewed and hired actually as the first teacher at Valley Christian. I also coached baseball, and I also coached soccer, and I was also the transportation coordinator. And our school started with 20 students, 20 ninth grade students. And that's why I think we have taken on that kind of excitement of playing up or playing larger schools whenever we possibly can. We wanted to be the best, and in order to be the best, you have to, as you know, play the best. And we tried as much as we could to take that on. I wanted to see them have success. I wanted to make sure that there was a quality program for them, and that they could enjoy high school and be in a program where it was they could meet their goals. To be a part of Chandler is very important to me. I live in Chandler. I've been a big part of Chandler for many years, and just to know that I'm in the Hall of Fame in Chandler means a lot to me, because I love this community. To be a part of that and to see some of the other inductees and what they've been able to do with their life, and to know that, yeah, I guess I am a small part of that as well. I would like to thank my wife Shirley and my children Michael and Krista and Kelly for the opportunity that they gave me by them saying, "Go ahead, Dad, do all that you need to do for being an athletic director," to be away from some of the events that we were in, so that you could cover other events. But just being able to do that and having this honor, I would like to thank them, because they were a big part of it.
Basketball for me wasn't my first sport. I started off with soccer, football, baseball, everything in between, track. And I didn't really have a passion for basketball when I began. I didn't understand the sport, and I just kind of wanted, it's something I wanted to leave alone, and I'd like to do my other things. But when I began basketball, I started in 7th grade, and I started with a guy by the name of Anthony Blakes, who's a Harlem Globetrotter. He began training me. That's probably my first real training session where, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try something new. It was something I kind of played around with. I had friends in the sport, and I, kind of enjoyed it, but I wasn't serious. But when I got to my sophomore year in high school, I was cut from the team at Desert Vista High School. You know, from that year on, you know, I kind of really started pushing. I wanted to prove to the coach at that time that, you know, I am going to be Division I, and it gave me a goal. You know, I set out and had a goal. When I was cut from Desert Vista, I made the decision I wanted to transfer high schools. Yeah, so it was a smooth transition going to Hamilton High, and we ended up losing quarterfinals that year. Next year we went to the semis, which was my senior year. Had a great year, and we ended up losing in the semis against St. Mary's. I'm not salty about it because I was able to move on and move forward to University of Wisconsin. After my semifinal game, I got an offer to come visit the University of Wisconsin. The offer wasn't official yet, but you know, they asked me to come out there and visit for the Big Ten championship game. And after the game, you know, Coach Ryan called me up to his office, and he offered me on the spot, you know, which was a very emotional moment. I started off my college career redshirting. I came in at, you know, 6'6", 6'7", 172. After my first 2 months of college, I gained 25 pounds. I went up to 198. Really determined to play that year. You know, I got in there and I knew I was going to have to put on weight to play in the Big Ten Conference. And I just wasn't ready. I didn't feel I was ready. You know, the speed of the game, everything's an adjustment. You know, I decided to redshirt that year. And, you know, I was glad that I did it. I ended up coming in the next year and I played probably 15 minutes a game. Not a great deal of time, but I played every game as a freshman, and I still think until this day I still hold the record at the University of Wisconsin games played. So, you know, I had a lot of experience on the court, and I was just able to work my way up the ladder. Yeah, I started my NBA workouts after I graduated Wisconsin, and then after that I went overseas. You know, I went to Israel, Hungary, my first year overseas, and then I played in France this past year. But the overseas experience has been great so far. And, you know, France as a country has been great to me. I'm going back this year, south of France in Toulon. I'm glad I'm living it right out of college. And it's something, you know, I would like to do until I get back to the NBA or until I retire. First of all, I want to congratulate all the other inductees. I'm honored to be among you guys. I've watched, you know, many of you guys play in your careers or you know, work, and I've respected everything that you guys have done. You know, both past and present inductees. So it means a ton to me to be a part of this. I'm looking forward to seeing the video and watching everybody else as they get inducted, you know, this next year. So yeah, it means a great deal to me, and I'm very fortunate and honored to be in here.
I think I got started playing football throwing a football in the backyard with my pops. We used to sit out in the backyard or in the front yard and just throw the football, have some fun. You know, I used to like playing it, and you know, they come from a football background, so my dad used to coach it, and that's sort of how it started. I think my highlight that I take from Chandler High was the brotherhood I sort of made at the high school with all the guys. Like I think that was probably my biggest memory, is like the brotherhood we shared as a team. I still talk to them this day. I mean, you know, guys in my wedding, everything, you know, it is really, I created a big bond and a big family with all those guys. You know, a kid's dream is to go through high school and, you know, be wanted by these D1 colleges, and to be able to experience that was awesome. But I chose UCLA just for the fact of like the schooling one, but also the program being what it was and what it could be. You know, when I chose UCLA, it wasn't, you know, a top 10 program, a top 25 program, but you could tell it could be. And so to step in and be a part of that and help bring it to that level was something I really wanted to do. I feel proud of the things I did while I was at UCLA. Like I said previously, you know, when I chose them, they weren't the top 25 team. So I felt really proud when my senior year, you know, we went out as the number 10 team in the country. Just seeing the program go from, you know, when I was just coming into, hadn't been ranked in the top 25 to finishing now, I mean, a legitimate, powerhouse amidst, all the D1 programs. Every college athlete wants to win a Heisman championship, so it's huge to do it. But when you're in the mentioning for it, it's when you're in the running for a Heisman trophy, like it was awesome when I heard that. Not gonna lie, I had no idea. We had took a photo shoot just for a story, and the next day I get a text from the guy who did the article. And he said, "You're on the cover." I didn't believe him, so I ran to the first magazine store, and there I was. I was looking at myself on a Sports Illustrated cover, and I bought the whole magazine store, all of them. And even stuff like that, like I feel so proud of just being able to, now just to look at Sports Illustrated and see my face on the cover of a Sports Illustrated, stuff like that. I don't think it's truly hit me yet, So a lot of this stuff, I see it and I'm like, holy crap. For me, training camp, learning the playbook, it was hard, struggling, sweating to remember the plays the next day. I remember the first time throwing with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, so many butterflies in my stomach. I grew up watching this guy, and so I get out there on the field, and that's my partner, Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not lying. We're like 10 yards apart, and I airmail it over his head, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell him. Like, I'm just nervous, man. Just give me some time. I'll calm down. And then preseason. Just to have fun and go out there and sort of finish up the way I did, I felt really, really happy over that. I think your legacy is what I want to leave. I want to be remembered as one of the greatest to ever do it. I think the legacy you leave is something that's remembered a lot longer than the physical trophies and the physical objects you obtain throughout your career. I think you have to find a passion for what you want first and then go from there. There's a lot of parents and there's a lot of pressure into, developing at a young age and trying to get all these scholarships soon, but the way I was raised, the way we did it, it's we're playing football in the backyard first, and you develop a passion, you love the game, and then through high school it naturally will take care of itself. If it's meant to be, it'll happen, but you just got to have the passion to do it first. This is something that everybody wants to be in. It's you're inducted into your hometown's Hall of Fame, and for me right now, like it's unbelievable. Like I said, legacies live forever, and this is something that's one of those roads that, no matter what happens, if you look in the Chandler Hall of Fame, my name will always be there. Just thinking about stuff like that sort of just incorporates everything I'm trying to work for.
Man, I had to be 5 or 6, maybe even younger. My mom trying to get all of us in athletics. She took us out to, at the time they were practicing at Corona, Arizona Cheetahs, and we went out there and they just ran us. It's track and field. That's, most sports punishment is our workout. So we're out there running and running. I go through the whole practice, and as soon as we get outside the gate to the parking lot, I tell my mom, like, Mom, I don't want to do this anymore. The next year, for whatever reason, I stupidly walked back out there and joined the team, for whatever reason, and it was no turning back from there. 75 to 90% of the kids that ran Cheetahs or want to, try to, or like to go to Chandler. So, from the time that my sister got into school in 2000 up until I graduated, I was around Chandler sports. So my recruitment was really weird because I got recruited for track and football. My coach that I had at Tech, he came in, he didn't flash me like, here's the way I do things, here's how I like to do it with you, and here's a list of people that I've done, from start to finish, and the progression and everything. So I kind of, I really vibed with him, and he was a great guy. I went out there right after high school, pretty much. I graduated. I think a week after graduation, I went to Great Southwest. And then a week after that, I was in Lubbock. About 2 weeks in, we started track practice, and it was a whole new thing for me. Indoor conference my freshman year was a big one for me. I ended up winning both events, broke school record in both events, and the Big 12 conference record in both events. The next year was a struggle for me. I ended up hurting my hamstring indoor. Still got an All-American that year, but didn't have a great indoor. Outdoor, didn't even make it to nationals in any other jumps because I frayed my plantar in my foot. And then I get to nationals. So Thursday we get there, and usually we get to a meet, we go shake out or whatever it is. I'm out there, trying to see how it's gonna work, see what my hamstring's gonna give me. So, I'm trying to run, can't really run, but I can jump. I get out there and I go jump, and I just remember landing, and I tell myself, like, that's not gonna get it done. It was just like, I don't know what to do. When I get out of the pit, they tell me mark, and I look up, and it's huge. I end up jumping 1696, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, that didn't feel that way. Like, at that point, I wasn't thinking about how far I just jumped or what place. Like, my hamstring just hurt. Like, felt like it was holding on by one strand. So, I ended up passing 4 of my last 5 and winning nationals off of one jump. And it was just like, wow. I was happy, to get out. And my coach, he was asking me, well, you want to go to USA's this year? And I'm telling him, like, nope, even though I can compete and it's a good chance I can make it, I'm like, I'm done competing hurt. So that was the college career pretty much. It was bittersweet, but I mean, I was excited. I got my national championship and left with that. It was kind of, I was really excited. I was at work when I got the first call, and I was just like, finally, I finally get to join, the cool kids club and be in the Hall of Fame. So it was very satisfying.
I was always in the backyard playing, and my dad, he built us a basketball hoop in the backyard. We had a hoop, and we had the concrete court or whatever outside of me. And my brother always used to play, and my favorite team was the Houston Rockets. My favorite player was Hakeem Olajuwon, so I remember just going in the backyard and watching all the games outside, and I think that's where I kind of fell in love with basketball. My sophomore year, before AAU started, I set the single-season scoring record at Chandler already as a sophomore. So coming back as a junior, I knew I was going to have a lot of success. But when I went to AAU ball for my sophomore year, going into my junior year, like when I had 51 points, I knew I was going to dominate. I knew that I was going to at least average 30 points a game. I was like, that's probably going to be realistic. My confidence was just like at another level from playing AAU basketball. And I was just like, but if I get to 34 points, I was like, that would be like unbelievable. And my dad, I don't know, coincidentally showed me an article on Isaac Bonds, and showed me all the games. He averaged 40. I was like, no way, like, would I ever do that? It's crazy. It's like a video game. So the first game, I was like, I got to make a statement, and I had 52. And the next game I had, I think, 42, and I was like, this is something that I might be able to do, It wasn't easy at all, because I faced a lot of double teams with triangle and twos. It was just, my confidence was so high from AAU, and I really did, like, all I did was basketball every single day, Same thing I do now, but, just basketball. I was just really confident in my game, and when I broke the record at Gilbert, there's 2 minutes left. I think I needed like 14 points, and like I got it in like 2 minutes. So it was crazy how I did that. I didn't know how many points I had, but I was like, I can't be close to it. Let me just go all out for these last 2 minutes, and whatever happens, it's God's plan. And it happened for me. Played my sophomore and junior years, and after my junior year, I transferred to Winchendon. I wanted a new challenge. That would be the best thing for me. It was a huge transition, but it was like the best but worst time of my life. I really grew up and learned a lot being there, and I made some really good friends there as well. That time when I came, it was the #1 prep school league in the country. Memphis was recruiting me really, a lot, and there it was cool, but like me being from the West, it was in the South, like deep in the South, and a lot of the 8, 9-year-olds had gold teeth and dreads. It was just too much. Like, I couldn't do it. I mean, at least in Minnesota, I could understand when people were talking to me. In Memphis, I couldn't really understand what anybody was saying, so that was a big thing. Initially, I wanted to go overseas. It's tough. I mean, I like playing basketball. I like competing. A lot of great players that play overseas, It's tough, though, being in another country. You don't know the language. I was driving to Israel when I first got there, and I seen the cop behind me with his lights on. I was like, man. So I pulled over and he's like yelling, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you stopping? Like in broken English. I'm like, your lights are on behind me. Later I figure out that lights are always on. So it's a culture shock. But if you get into a good city with a good team and a good coach, it can be really fun, travel and see things you've never seen before, you know. It's unbelievable. Still kind of like can't believe it. For my city and the state I'm inducted in here, it's like it's a great honor, and it's just unbelievable, you know. It's kind of can't even, it's like surreal, like I can't believe it. There's a lot of great players and just so many players come and go, and just to be, you know, nominated and, you know, selected for it, and just, it's unbelievable.
The 1979 Seton Catholic High School softball team captured the school's first softball title at school, now known statewide for its powerhouse program. The team, coached by Kim Kramer and assisted by local softball legend Lefty Soto, finished the season 11-4 before demolishing Mayer 12-3 in the state championship game. Team members included Kathy Trostide, Kathy Valdez, Gracie Martinez, Pam LaPaglia, Sue Guerin, Tara Palmer, Diane Austin, Valerie Valenzuela, Marjorie Martinez, Paula Petra Anderson, Marisol Lucas, and Amy Dupecky. The 1982 Chandler High School girls basketball team brought the school its first of many state championships in girls basketball. Led by coach Richard Pacheco, the team entered the championship game against South Mountain High with a record of 26-0. After a defensive battle, Chandler came out on top, wrapping up their undefeated season with a state title. The team was led by Brenda Arbuckle and included Terry Myers, Liz Quinn, Rebecca Lewis, Janet Crick, and Sherry Benke, the only senior of the team. The 1983 Seton Catholic High School softball team was looking for redemption. After the '79 team had brought home a state championship, the school had returned to the championship game each year afterwards, losing 3 years in a row. Under first-year coach Dan Lawrence, the 17-1 Seton girls defeated Western Christian High School in the state championship game, bringing home the school's second softball championship in its 5th consecutive trip to the finals. In 1991, the Valley Christian High School boys track and field team was on a mission to prove they belonged. Prior, they had moved up a class and had still been state runners up in a close championship meet. The 1991 team, coached by Vernon Benson, broke through in spectacular fashion. The boys won the state meet, racking up 200 points, while runners-up, Camp Verde, trailed only 125. It was the first of what would ultimately wind up being 9 state titles that the Valley Christian boys track and field team would win at the 2A level.